If my husband was to do something that made me mad, and I wouldn't make, I wouldn't make him a plate like I normally would. I would just leave the house and just go to the store or go somewhere and not say nothing, like do little petty stuff. A couple petty things I won't name because there's a few things that I did that he don't know it was me. Sorry, love you if you're watching this. Welcome back to our channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different because I'm actually going to be doing this mess of a head as I tell you all where we have been. Oh my gosh. The braids that I currently have in my hair, I literally did these braids about 2 weeks ago, and if you can see, like, some of it is done and the end is like out. So I had some knotless braids that I did about 2 weeks ago, and I did not like them, like, at all. The most major update that I have for you all is the fact that we had another baby. My little Anthony, aka Ant-Man. That is our last, 1000% our last. That makes a total of 4 kids that I have. 4, like this many, y'all, like almost a full hand of kids is what I have. That's cray even saying out loud. Yes, he's the last, and I know that for sure because I got my my tubes burned, singed, smoked, lit, fireworks gone, like But yeah, so that's the most major update. Our oldest will be 13 in a couple months. Updates about him: he just completed his first year of basketball. He also received a scholarship to a local performing arts school. It was free tuition for 1 year, and he did attend that, where he did like acting classes and hip-hop dance and improv. He didn't really like it, but I wanted him to just at least get, some exposure to it, just to see if he would like it. Another major update: Riley had his first and second girlfriend, and I guess I'll just let y'all know, I cried when I found out that Riley had a girlfriend. I literally cried, y'all. Like, I swear I'm not exaggerating. Like, I'm so serious. The reason I cried is because I'm like, oh my gosh, like, you know what follows, when you start dating? Heartbreak, And I just was thinking about, like, oh my gosh, this girl is gonna break my son's heart. Like, he's gonna experience his first heartbreak. Like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna say? How am I gonna react? Y'all have to remember, Riley is my first, okay? So this is the first time I'm ever going through this stage, and it's hard, y'all. It's really hard to accept that your kid is growing up. Like, Emmy Lowe, my Emmy Lowe, she will be turning 5 soon. She's completing her first year of preschool. She also wrapped up her first year of baseball. And then Zoe will be 4. Zoe is finishing up her first year of preschool. So now we can jump into where we have been for what, almost 2 years now, I guess. Where do I even start, y'all? I guess let's start with COVID. COVID had me by the throat, y'all, okay? Had me by the neck, the throat, the esophagus, okay? I didn't let my kids go anywhere. If we did, trust, gloves, mask, face shields, long sleeves. Like, COVID had me shook. Being pregnant, having young ones, little toddlers, I was so afraid of them catching it. So we were cooped up in this house for about 2 years, like literally 2 years, nowhere, no trips, no family events. Like, I didn't let these kids out, and it definitely took a toll. It took a toll on my children's social skills, on my anxiety, stress, depression. It took a toll on our marriage. And it definitely was a major setback within our lives. And so when I found out I was pregnant during COVID, I was totally freaking out. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what am I gonna do if I catch COVID while I'm pregnant? So when you have anxiety, it's hard living with someone with anxiety, but it's also hard living with someone without anxiety, and for obvious reasons, right? So for the person who has anxiety, living with someone who does not, you think that they don't understand you. You're just like, you don't get it. You don't understand what I'm going through. But the same can be said for the person who does not have anxiety, living with someone who does have anxiety. You know, you don't get what I'm saying, and we don't, right? We don't get it and they don't get it. We did have a few issues arise because of our stance on the kids going out to socialize versus not, the kids attending family functions versus not. We had major differing opinions whenever it came to that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if we let them go to this family event, or we let them go to school and they get sick and it's fatal or super life changing, I'm going to feel guilty. I'm going to say to myself, why did you let them out during a pandemic? You know, that's how I'm thinking. That's how my brain is operating. You know, how am I going to live with the guilt of something happening to my children when it was 1000% preventable? How? By keeping them in the house. If I would have kept them in the house and they wouldn't have got sick, you know, and I'm the one who has to deal with that mentally if something was to happen. So, you know, my husband was having a hard time understanding, you know, where I was coming from. And then on the opposite side, I was having a hard time understanding where he was coming from, because, you know, he's like, you risk your life every day getting in the car. With my anxiety, I'm not able to think rationally, right? So yeah, that's rationizing. That's speaking with ration. Y'all know what I mean. Him saying that you risk your life every day just by getting in a car. Yeah, that sounds rational to you. I don't think like that with my brain. I think of the worst, rarest things ever in life. He's trying to tell me the percentage rate of those who recover from COVID versus those who don't, and the recovery rate of those, you know, when children catch it. And I don't care. No, you know what? Let me say that. It's not that I didn't care. My brain does not care, right? My brain is like, Teray, no, don't listen to him. This is your anxiety speaking. Your kids are going to be that 0.1%, totally making that percentage up, y'all. I don't know what the percentage of the survival rate was. But no, your kids are going to be that. And I would tell my husband, like, listen, in order for there to be a 0.1%, someone has to make it up, and that can be our kids. That's how I think, right? So we bumped heads a lot whenever it came to that, and it did cause a rift, a major rift in our marriage, and it took us a minute to dig ourselves out of that space. Definitely triggered major depression in me. The thing is, a lot of you are probably watching this like, what? Like, I would have never guessed. Yeah, you wouldn't. That's usually how it works. So make sure you pay attention to your laughing, joking friends, family. Not saying everyone who laughs and smiles and jokes all the time is depressed, but those are usually the ones. And let me just say, so it's not just COVID that made marriage hard, right? Just trying to live a biblical marriage is hard, y'all. It is so hard. Let me give you some examples. So pre-Save Teray, if my husband was to do something that made me mad, and I wouldn't make him a plate like I normally would, I would just leave the house and just go to the store or go somewhere and not say nothing, like do little petty stuff. A couple petty things I won't name, because there's a few things that I did that he don't know it was me. Okay. Sorry. Love you if you're watching this. But now we're gonna start thinking back to like weird things, like, oh, so that was probably her that did that. And you know, the Bible says, you know, I don't know verse by verse. I'm not like a Bible connoisseur. Like, I'm not about to act like I am at all. There's something in there along the lines of, you know, you can be angry, just don't sin, you know. Don't let your anger cause you to sin. And doing stuff like that, you know, acting upon that anger, that's something I would have normally done. And it's something that is very, very, very hard to break. Like, y'all, can you imagine being so livid with your husband, like livid. But you have to set that aside and still do what God expects you to do. The hardest part has been putting myself aside and keeping God first. Yeah, I want to be petty so bad, but ultimately, who is that satisfying? Me. That's not satisfying God. God don't want you out here being petty, being mean to people. So ultimately, at the end of the day, I am trying to satisfy me when I should be focused on satisfying God. Why? Because without him, we wouldn't even have this marriage. We wouldn't have the things that we have. We wouldn't have this roof over our head. We wouldn't have the cars that we drive, the jobs that we have, the health that we have. So it's been really, 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 really hard whenever we hit those dark places and those rough patches too. And I'm not saying I succeeded, y'all. Don't get it twisted. And I'm not trying to be funny, y'all. I'm just trying to be real. Like who says that by the 24th hour when it's time to go to bed that you still not mad? Like, you are. Like, you're still mad. So it's so hard to not let the sun go down on your anger. We've definitely gotten to a point where it's not as hard for me because I'm now able to sort the bigger picture, right? I'm able to take a step back and be like, listen, God, what would God want you to do right now? Sorry, I kind of rambled there. But yeah, so COVID, the bump in our marriage, the pregnancy, just working full time from home with all the kids. It has been hard, y'all. Trying to keep up, trying to find the energy to keep giving y'all content. I've been able to kind of get my life down to a routine where I am able to try this again, right? And prayerfully, I am successful at it this time. And I don't mean successful as in like going viral and having 1 million subscribers and stuff like that. That's not even my goal. My goal is to do something that I love to do, y'all. I have no hobbies, zero, none. So like, I was telling my husband this one day, you go to like meetings at work and maybe you're in a meeting with a population that you have never dealt with before, right? So everyone's trying to get to know each other. And what is the number one question as an icebreaker? You know, what do you do for fun? What are your hobbies? I always hear people, oh, I've read 117 books so far this year and it's only January 2nd. I go hiking. I play chess on the weekends, you know, stuff like that. And every single time it's my turn, I have nothing, y'all. Why? Because my logistic life doesn't allow time for play, right? It doesn't allow time for once. All day, every day, I'm doing what I need to do, what I have to do to survive. I would just hope they never made it to me, because then I would have to crack a joke and, you know, to try to hide my pain. Like, I was tired of living like that. Like one day I literally woke up like, of all the things I want to do, like I'm going to make an intentional effort to do one of them. And the top one at that. And the top one is YouTube. I love creating content. I love editing videos because I think my family is hilarious. Okay, I'm gonna be real. That's the reason. I think we're hilarious. So I'm just gonna keep reminding myself, hey, life is short. Do the things you want to do. I hope you all tune in again. I hope you all subscribe. So I'm going to continue with my hair and then I will show you the results at the end. All right, bye.